Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Sean. This is UCM Pigs, and today we're going to be correcting a common problem on Harley Davidsons. Now, I've looked all over the internet, and this appears to be a problem not just with twin cams, but with M8s. And we're going to correct it today. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up the catch can for my breather. Now, before we get started, let me remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always on my channel, if you don't feel like typing words, just leave me an emoji. Let me know you were here. I would greatly appreciate that. So this is not a paid promotion by no means. We're going to be doing this DIY. Now, if you're not familiar with this, Harley Davidsons tend to have a problem where from the vents on the top of your heads, right around your inside your rocker covers, there is a port on each head that will vent gases from the head as you ride, and there'll be an oil mist in it. And typically it'll come back in. The way Harley has it set up is it's fed back into the breather with some hoses, and it's pulled back into your intake and burned in your engine. It's better for the environment, blah, blah, blah. I don't know the science behind it, but that's the way they're set up. And even when you buy an aftermarket, they set it up the same way. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm dealing with. This bike has always done it. I would notice it, when I would do my filter maintenance on when I had the stock airbox on there. When I took it apart and cleaned my filter, I would notice oil residue inside the filter because it vents it inside of the filter housing, so it gets pulled back into your intake. But with my new aftermarket, my S&S teardrop, it's open at the bottom, and it's becoming more apparent that I have a little bit of oil just dripping down in between the jugs, and I get a little bit of mist. And after more research, this process basically of burning this oily air really can make your pistons very dirty and starve the bike of performance. So there are a lot of options here. We're going to go over a couple. There are kits you can purchase online. They range from $75 to $139, depending on who you order it from. You can buy just the catch can. You can buy a complete kit. Some people will actually just run the hoses down below their frame and just let it, drip out the bottom of the bike. We're going to go the right way. We're going to use a catch can, and I'm making a catch can. So let me switch the camera around here. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And again, I don't want to get into the whole right and wrong of this. We all have, things we deal with, and this is just what's better for me. I'm tired of having oil dripping down the side of my motor. And like I said, I am going to use a catch can. I don't want it just falling on the ground, and that's the way I'm going to go with mine. So let me show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you what I purchased to do this DIY catch can setup. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we're looking at my air cleaner, my beautiful S&S teardrop air cleaner that I just put on the bike in black. I absolutely love it on the bike. But like I said, when I did this upgrade, this little problem became more apparent. So right up here on either side, these are your breather ports. I'll bring the camera up here in a minute. Here, let's just do it now. And if you look back here, there is a hose that connects to those breather ports, and then it comes together and goes in to the air cleaner. We'll disassemble this so you can get a better look here in a minute. And then, like I said, it pulls this oil mist air back into your engine. But what I'm finding is because this is open down here in the bottom, I'm getting some oil residue down here, and it drips down here in the bottom, right down in here between my jugs. I've even had it to a point when I was on a road trip, it had actually sprayed back on the bike a little bit, just a little bit of fine oil mist, and it just makes a mess. So we're going to correct that with this catch can setup, and let's get this air cleaner cover off so we can see things a little better, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing to correct this. Okay, so now that I've got the air cleaner cover off and the filter off, you can kind of see the oil residue right there. So basically, here's the two vent ports. There's a hose in there, and then it vents right here back inside the air cleaner to go inside the intake and be repurposed. But as you can see, it's messy, a lot of oil residue, and it actually drips down here in this area. There's a lot of oil residue down in there. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be removing this breather hole. I'm going to plug this. I've got some like vacuum caps that I'll be putting on the back side of this. And I'm going to run 2 hoses, one from each breather port, around to the bottom, and then hang a catch can underneath here. I don't know if I can angle these. I'll have to find out when I get it apart if I can kind of tilt them down a little bit more. If not, I may have to run this one over here and this one over here and have them meet that way. That way I don't get kinks. I bought 3 foot of fuel line. It's a 1/4 inch fuel line, and we'll see which is the best way to go when we get this apart. So let's go over here to the bench and let me show you what I purchased in lieu of purchasing a kit online. Okay, so like I mentioned, you can purchase these kits online. You can purchase the catch can. And they make really nice machined aluminum ones, but like I said, they can cost anywhere from just the can itself can cost up to $70, and then the whole kit, which is everything that you see here, can be 130, 140 bucks. So I'm going to break down what I've bought here and give you the total price that I paid for all this material, and you'll see the savings that I have here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the catch can. So what I have right here. This is a reusable aluminum fuel filter. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Sean, it's got a hole in the bottom. What are we going to do with that? Well, that's where a vacuum plug comes into play. So this is a little rubber vacuum plug like you use on an automobile to plug vacuums. They come in a little multi-pack. You can pick them up at Advance or AutoZone or something like that, and then you just find the one that you want. So we're going to take that and we're going to plug the bottom of this. I may trim this up where it's a little shorter, but just that way you get the idea. So the bottom's plugged, and then it just unscrews, and there's a little filter element in there which we're going to remove, and you have a catch can. So there's my can, there's the lid. Now we want this to vent, so the ones you purchase online, they will have holes in the top so it'll vent. You can actually, some of the kits just have a filter, but in my opinion, that's just going to spray oil everywhere. I want to catch the oil. So to vent this, I'm actually going to drill about 4 holes here in the top. And then that way I get the venting from the top and the oil will settle in the bottom. I'm going to put some kind of medium in here. I was thinking about keeping this filter element, but what I think I'm going to do is take, some Scotch-Brite pad and cut it in a small piece and just stuff it in the bottom, and then that way it just gives me something to kind of soak up the oil in between dumps and it's not sloshing all around. But I picked this up on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description. I picked this up for $7.98. There are a lot of options. Now, this is not my idea. I got this from other people online. I even watched one guy, and I'll link the videos in the description, that he actually used a master cylinder from a Kawasaki motorcycle. It was genius. And he got it like for 14 bucks. The next thing that we have, of course, is our hose. It's a 1/4 inch fuel line, and this is like $5 a foot. So I bought 3 foot to give me a little wiggle room. That was about 17 bucks. And then we're going to need a T. So this is a brass T. You can use a Y. They have plastic ones. My part store only had the brass, and it came in a package of 3. Again, so I had to get just the 1/4 inch out, and that little package was $13. And then some hose clamps. I'm probably going to use about 3 of these. We'll see as we go, but these are like $1.49 each. So all together, including the multi-packs, I'm sure you can do this a lot cheaper if you can buy these individual from a hardware store. But altogether, I'm in this $51, which is a big savings, even just compared to the catch can alone from some of these people online. So we're going to be setting this up. We're going to put the camera around here. I'm going to start tinkering with it, and I'm going to record as we go. All right, so I've gone ahead and taken off this portion of my breather. And as you can see, this is the old vent port that connects to this hose that comes out of these vents. I'm going to be covering that with one of those vacuum plugs, just so it doesn't suck anything from the outside into that area. I want everything to go through the filter. I'll tinker around with it and check back in with you. But I'm going to go ahead and remove this hose and see if I can adjust these ports down a little bit. Okay, so I've got it roughed in right now. And just to go over what I did here, it was a little bit of a chore, but not too bad. So first of all, 1/4 inch fuel line. It was a little tough to get over these banjos. Probably could have went with a little larger diameter, but I was able to heat it up with a heat gun and get it up there, get the clamps on it, and it's on there nice and snug. Now right here, don't want it to rest down here on the cam housing here, because I'm afraid it'll get hot and start melting stuff and whatever. So I wanted it to, just, be suspended right there, kind of centered. Now it is black. That's the reason I chose black, so to kind of blend in. Now all this will be covered up by the air cleaner, so it should blend in nicely once I get it all back together. But I went ahead and twisted the banjos down, just loosened up these breather bolts a little bit, and then twisted my banjos down. It's actually easier to pull them out and slip the banjos into the hose and then put it all back together again. Tighten those back down, the torque specs. Brought it in together here. Now, I'm kind of on the fence if I'm gonna put hose clamps here. I mean, this is pretty snug. I know I'm gonna put one down here on the catch can, but these connections here, I may not put hose clamps. I'll watch them, see if I get any seepage, and if I do, I can put some hose clamps on there. But I'm gonna need to go ahead and drill my holes here in the top of the catch can for the ventilation, and get some media in there to kind of be absorbent when the oil does gather in there. All right, so what I have here, I went ahead and drilled 2 holes in the top of this filter, which is now my catch can. I was gonna do 4, but those are pretty good size. I would recommend getting a punch, doing a little tap. That way your drill bit doesn't dance around. On the back side, there is a little rubber gasket. We're going to put that back in. I pulled that out with a pick, and even with that, it doesn't cover the vent holes, so we'll get good ventilation with the gasket in place. And as I mentioned, on the inside of the catch cam, well, I put the nipple on here. I trimmed it down. That's just a vacuum nipple. I'm going to use a little piece of Scotch-Brite and just put it in there as something to kind of absorb the oil. Put the lid on. And we'll get this in place. So I am going to use one hose clamp just to hold this in place. So we'll get that on, and I'll show you where we're at. Nothing like the roll away. All right, so I've got it all put together. So far, I kind of like the look of it. It's not too, overbearing, I guess, or too redneckish. So a lot of this is going to be covered up when the air cleaner is in place. You're just going to see the bottom of the catch can. So again, just ran it down. I went ahead and put there, and to take it off, I'll just reach in here and unscrew it and dump it when I need to. So let's get all this air cleaner put back together, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. All right, one thing I forgot to mention, on the back side of my plate here for my intake, this is where the old vent hose used to come in. I'm going to take another one of these vacuum plugs and just cap that off. Again, I don't want anything coming in that's not supposed to be in there, that doesn't go through the filter, and we'll get this back in place. All right, so it's done. Air cleaner's back in place, and like I said, I chose the black catch can. They have various colors. You can get red, green, silver. I chose the black because really it's almost not even noticeable. I mean, there it is right down there. It kind of just blends in with the bike. And bringing the camera up here, you can barely see the hose clamps. This one's really not even visible. Yeah, it's visible a little bit, but it cleaned up nicely. So I am very much pleased with the way this come out. Let's just hope it performs well. We'll be trying it over the next couple weeks. I got a trip coming up in mid-July, and we'll see how that goes. But just commuting and riding, we'll see if it solves the problem. All right, y'all. So like I said, I'm pretty pleased with the aesthetic of it. We'll see how it works over the next few weeks. But yeah, if you're thinking about doing a catch can setup, there are a lot of options out there other than buying the kit. I can't take credit for this. I did find this from YouTube. I will link the videos that I used in the description because I believe in giving credit where credit is due. So it's not my brainchild, but It is a fantastic idea, and an install was pretty simple. 50 bucks, a little bit of sweat equity. And speaking of sweat, it is swampy today. And matter of fact, I'm wearing my North Shore Harley, Slidell, Louisiana, in honor of the swampiness, because this garage floor is getting slick. I need to go get in the pool. So I hope you guys found it informative. And until we talk again, you guys be careful. You guys be safe. Always keep your shiny side up. And we'll talk to you next time.